Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and then we're going to look at the pairings ETH BTC and LTC BTC for a look at who is outperforming who's the strongest, who's the weakest, and just a general gauge of the big three and where they stand relative to each other. As we know, correlations are what the market is all about, and they are constantly shifting, and those charts comparing each other can give us some good insight into where the money is going and where the bulls are focused. So I have personally not been trading as much cryptocurrency the past few days, maybe the past week. We've had a ton of market volatility, been trading 3 times leveraged ETFs based off the S&P 500, and also Canadian MJ has woken up the past 2 days with tons of gains in some of these names, some of them getting, or one of them getting listed on the NASDAQ, just some big news and essentially just volatility and price action elsewhere. The name that got listed on the NASDAQ ran 27% in 2 days. The other names have run, 15% in 2 days. So I'm going to go where the volatility is, and we have a lot of crypto traders, beginning to branch out and trading in the stock market world and noticing the little differences, and just want to report back some of those differences that people are, giving feedback on with stocks. I mean, essentially, to boil it down and to not sugarcoat it, stocks are designed for people with money. They are designed to benefit the rich. There is no doubt about that, because order sizes are the same. I can make an order with $1 million for $4.95, or I can make an order for $5 and it's going to cost me $4.95. So if you have a small stack, those fees are going to be much more significant, where if you have a big stack, it doesn't even matter. GDAX, obviously, it's more proportionate. Your fees are going to be what the size of your orders are if you're using market orders. If you're using market orders versus limit orders in stocks, there's no difference to the cost. There's also very little slippage. There's a lot more liquidity. If I'm trading, let's say I were to trade a $500,000 order or an $800,000 order on Bitcoin or Ethereum, there's going to be a lot more slippage if I do a market order. And the leveraged ETFs that I'm trading right now, and even some of the Canadian MJ, they're going to absorb that volume much easier without as much slippage. So those are just some differences. There's also differences like if you have an account less than $25,000, you can't day trade every day. You have to swing trade. Again, more limitations on smaller accounts. It favors big money. So highly suggest people in their spare time just do a little studying, get comfortable in any market, because being able to jump around, Canadian MJ is going 10 to 20%. I'm going to go trade over there. And then once that calms down and there's nothing going on in Canadian MJ, I come back to crypto when crypto picks up, and just bouncing all over the place and really never having a dull moment. So checking in on Bitcoin, the daily time frame, the bulls just made a very significant break. And last night pretty much was best case scenario. So yesterday we highlighted how we were looking for the potential of a daily equilibrium pattern. We had a bearish reversal candlestick on the daily, and we saw no follow through. So if we saw another red day, it would be a perfect equilibrium. The bulls obviously showed up, and they had, again, pretty much best cased overnight for the bulls, and we did just break to a higher high by getting over the high of yesterday. So the bulls still have full control as far as I'm concerned on the daily time frame as well as the shorter term time frames. And now previously this was my must hold level. It's now this. This is my must-hold level, 9,324, and that's great for the swing traders whenever a new base of support is built, because it's a very clear level and the losses aren't as significant if we can move up and say, okay, the uptrend's going to be lost if this level is lost, whereas previously when we were pulling back to here, we had no support in this range. We were looking all the way down to the 7,000s. So here we are on the 4-hour time frame, overextended, and I'm very surprised that the bulls were able to break 11,044 to a higher high, because of how extended this 4-hour chart is. Now, the hourly chart never lost the higher low pattern. Ever since last night, it's just been little brief consolidation. Look at the volume on consolidation. Just brief consolidation, higher low, and the bull volume increasing. Just a lot of signals in the volume alone that the bulls had momentum in their favor. So the 4-hour time frame at this point, significant follow through. And this is another kind of a scenario where it's hard for some people to understand that are learning technical analysis, where it's not just the price level alone. So we know that a break of $11,044 is bullish, but I would never enter with this 4-hour chart looking like this on that bull break. So you can't just say, a lot of people ask me, should I enter if this level breaks? Well, it all depends. What's the RSI when that price level is reached? What's the previous action look like? If we had consolidated here for 2 candlesticks and formed a 4-hour bull flag and then broke in a little cup and handle pattern, that would be a much different scenario. But not buying this break because this 4-hour time frame needs to consolidate and form a higher low. And we will absolutely anticipate that this 4-hour chart is going to form a higher low due to the magnitude of this bounce. So essentially a V-shaped recovery, increasing bull volume. And I was not trusting this move on the first few candlesticks because it was low bull volume. Then the bull volume started picking up, and just all day the bulls have carried it. So the hourly time frame will remain in full control until we lose the hourly higher lows. We've got an inside bar forming on the hourly time frame. We'll watch to see how that breaks. This candlestick's going to close in 22 minutes. And if we get a bear break, the next level I'm looking at is down at 10,840, and a clear higher low was down at 10,658. So those are the 2 support levels to be watching. And now for resistance, where is resistance now that we broke 11,044? So let's pull that line. Our next resistance line, we had a little bounce attempt right here at 11,180. And then we're looking up at the high. The high of the bounce at this point on the daily chart, 11,775. So watching for 4-hour healthy consolidation tonight. And then we'll see if the bulls can get continuation with a higher high. Ethereum is a bit weaker on the daily. We also negated the pullback candlestick. We saw a nice solid bull move, but we haven't broken to a higher high yet, 894, and here we are still $20 below that level. So we're still a decent chunk below, about 2%, 2.5% below that resistance level. And just to get some comparison of what it looks like, this is what I would have anticipated Bitcoin to have done. We have the 4-hour bull MACD cross ready to go, but anticipating that we would set a lower high and then need a higher low and higher high to try and see things rather than that just V-shaped bullish recovery. So we are still lagging here. I've got resistance at 887.50 and 894. And we're going to look at these charts in just a moment on the comparisons, but I don't even need to look at those charts most of the time because I can just clearly see, look at the 4-hour chart to a higher high. Bitcoin is clearly stronger than Ethereum by multiple percent from where we stand right now. Litecoin on the daily chart is the most clear equilibrium pattern. This is what I was looking for everybody to do, but only Litecoin's doing it right now with our high, low, lower high, higher low. The range on the daily is 248 support. We might as well call that 200 psychological support and resistance of 231.50. That is the range to be watching. If I were only interested in Litecoin right now in the crypto space, I would be in a no trade zone right now. At where we stand, we are right near the middle of the range, and I would personally just be waiting for a bull break of the equilibrium pattern or a bear break, because I know that if I wait for the pattern to break, that the odds being in my favor for the trade are way more significant than if I'm trying to make trades within this pattern while it is still consolidating. So that's just something, again, if we have everything on the daily chart tightening up, and we don't have any trading opportunity, it's going to get really boring, and it's going to put us up in a scenario where we potentially force trades and overtrade. And if we have other sectors, other trading instruments to be looking at to satisfy, giving us something to do, giving us something to practice on, then that prevents from forcing trades in scenarios where the odds are not in our favor. So I'm constantly jumping towards volatility and setups where the odds are significantly in my favor, rather than trying to play setups where that is not the case and it's more of a 50-50 kind of scenario. So Litecoin on the 4-hour time frame, potential little bull flag right now. This 4-hour bull flag is on watch, especially because of the MACD. We're on the verge of a MACD cross. If we get a 4-hour higher low, and this is the kind of trade where it's not a really high risk trade. Let's see what it looks like on the hourly. But if you were to make an entry right now and put your stop below 211, which is the low of this consolidation, you risk, with some slippage there on a market order sell, you would risk $2. And the reward, if we were to get a bull break, if we break 214.88, there is a lack of resistance until 220.62. So essentially, if there's a $2 risk to the downside, the bull break would occur in $2 to the upside, and then there would be follow through. If we got that bull break, it's about a 2-to-1 reward to risk scenario, 1-to-2 risk to reward. So that's a potential setup to be in, but this is one that I would be more cautious on because factoring in Bitcoin due to consolidate on the 4-hour time frame, and here we go, potentially forming a bearish reversal candlestick on the 4-hour time frame. Still 2 hours to go, but that's something that might have me hesitate to making that trade. Even though it's low risk, the odds shift on which direction we break, knowing that Bitcoin is more likely to consolidate than not in the near term. So you can see I'm just talking out loud right now with what's going on in my brain when I'm looking at trades and deciding whether I want to enter or not. And everything is shifting the percentage odds of the way things are going to go just a little bit. So Bitcoin correlation, definitely a factor for this Litecoin setup. It is currently a bull flag on the 4-hour time frame. We'll see if the bulls can hold it and follow through with this MACD. So as far as the daily chart going, in terms of changing the favor for the bulls, we need a more clear higher low and higher high on the 4-hour. And then I'm looking at resistance of 223.70 and 231.50 is the high of the bounce. So that's where we stand on Litecoin. Clear equilibrium pattern, and we're right in the middle of it, which normally is a no trade zone for me. I wait for the break of that pattern. Another thing I also want to point out here is the alerts that were going out for Litecoin with the alert system. Earlier this afternoon, the 15-minute abnormal volume alert went out for GDAX here right when the breakout started. You can see obviously a big volume spike. And from that point on, we ran a nice $6 to the upside. LTC 15-minute climax overbought signaled at 214.28, just about where the top is, and then we pulled back multiple dollars from there. So that's just an example of short-term day trading using these alert systems in terms of a bull signal and then a bear signal on when to potentially help with an entry and exit of a trade. ETH BTC. We can see right now that Bitcoin is very strong compared to Ethereum. And that's because this chart is weak. This is the daily chart. We're heading down to a key support level of 0.077. If that level breaks, that's going to favor the bulls even more. Keep in mind that this chart does not mean that Bitcoin is going to be more bullish than Ethereum. It could mean less bearish. So if we have both Bitcoin and Ethereum pulling back, if Ethereum pulls back more than Bitcoin, this chart is going to drop down to weaker lower lows. So again, I just want to drive that home, that this kind of chart, it doesn't necessarily mean that one name is going to be more bullish than the other. It can possibly mean that it's going to be less bearish. So where we're looking right now, 4-hour time frame, is close to oversold, and we can see that the 4-hour time frame in the past has gotten to extreme oversold levels. So not necessarily looking for a bounce right when we get to 20, but it is worth noting that Ethereum is likely to see some relative strength comparative to Bitcoin sooner rather than later, because this 4-hour time frame is oversold, and we've seen 5 red hours in a row, or I should say 5 red candlesticks, which is 20 red hours in a row. And we look at Bitcoin, and that's the same amount of time that we've been seeing this move follow through. Litecoin is a daily equilibrium. So the Litecoin Bitcoin chart, high, low of consolidation, get your magnet on. Then we got our lower high, excuse me, and the bulls are trying to form a higher low. So 1899 is support. We're coming up on that level. Bulls would love to see that support hold. Otherwise, it's just another chart that's going to break bearish and tell us Bitcoin is stronger than Litecoin. And obviously the past 4 days it's been the case. Look at the 4-hour time frame. So a little bit of a bounce right in there, but overall just days and days of Bitcoin stealing the show. It was Litecoin. This is the LitePay hype. So this is a really nice chart that shows you LitePay hype and fundamentals leading to Litecoin getting more attention. LitePay hitting its day here. And this was almost at midnight. Midnight Eastern time, essentially, is where we hit our top. And then once we hit February 26th, the day that LitePay comes out, we then see the bulls no longer interested in all that momentum and hype, and Bitcoin getting the attention. So that was, in my opinion, a perfect sell the news event for Litecoin. And obviously it wasn't a drastic dump or anything like that. It wasn't a pump and dump. Let's look at Litecoin on the daily chart in terms of where we topped out. We topped out on the 26th, so that's not surprising to me at all. That is, in my opinion, a sell the news event. The event was known. We had a run-up leading into it. We saw the bull momentum knowing it was associated with LitePay. And once the day rolls around, okay, now what? What do the bulls have to look for? Who's going to be buying on the 26th? Everybody that's been caring about buying for LitePay has been buying leading up into the 26th. That's why we top out, and that's why we have sell the news events when the news event is known in advance and the date of the event is known in advance as well. So that's where we stand as we head into tomorrow. Congrats to the bulls. Again, Bitcoin bulls have no complaints with what the past 2 days have looked like. And we'll be looking for that 4-hour higher low to form, and we'll be confident that the 4-hour higher low has formed once we get the 15-minute time frame, which still is bullish, but once it goes bearish and we get that 4-hour consolidation, the 15-minute time frame forming higher lows and higher highs again will be the first indication that the 4-hour higher low is potentially forming. As far as what's the signal that 4-hour consolidation is coming, we have to break the 15-minute higher low, higher high pattern, and we have to break the hourly higher low and higher high pattern. So right now, 10,940 is the most recent 15-minute higher low. I hope you all continue to do something good. I appreciate you watching, and we'll be back tomorrow.